quick question. This is just a question. I don't know the answer. I'm just giving my opinion because I was having a fun debate with somebody about Star Wars Episode 3, which is my favorite Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, it had its couple flaws, but overall, it was, for the most part, everything I wanted. Shout out to Yoda, like the whole thing. Anyway, do we really believe, is Yoda really the strongest Jedi? Like, in that timeline? Was Yoda really the strongest? Because me and this guy was having a debate because he said yes, and I was like, okay, hold on a second, hold on. He was like, all right. Mace Windu, I believe, is the strongest one. He was like, I said, wait, just think about it. Think about it. Who had Palpatine at his knees? Well, not technically on his knees, but you know what I mean. Down. Where if it wasn't for the writing, Mace Windu would have saved everything. And Yoda didn't finish the job. You know, we can say distraction and all that stuff that Yoda was facing, but technically I was watching episode 3 again and I'm like, I don't know, bro. If it wasn't for the writing of Mace Windu, you know what I mean when I do that. You know when he had the sword at Palpatine, instead of just, whoop, just doing that. That was one thing. He was laughing too. He was like, yeah, that's true. I was like, you know how dramatic they made that? He's sitting there holding the sword so far, taking his time, so that Anakin, it was literally, that scene was a little cringy for me because just that little part, because you telling me it takes all that to end it when you have the sword at his face. All you gotta do is lean forward. That's it. But and of course, we know why that had to happen. So I know because A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi came out first. So they had to, find a way. But I think they could have written that better. They could have done something else. Personally, and I told him this, and he was like, dang, that would be sick. Personally, I think better writing would have been Anakin fighting off Windu. Not Windu doing this and then just get sight, but fighting off Windu, not, about to stab, and then Windu deflects Anakin's lightsaber, then Palpatine and Anakin bombard Mace Windu, and Mace fights to the death. I think that would have been better writing. But especially, and I ain't gonna front, as powerful as Windu is, he should have said something with Anakin, like he did before earlier. When Anakin is sitting there disagreeing with Windu, and then when Anakin said, I need him, right there, I would have looked at Anakin, fall back. I would have force pushed him back. But anyway, back to the question. If it wasn't for writing, like for that kind of weird situation with Windu would have beaten Palpatine. But Yoda didn't. Now, I don't know the books of Star Wars that way. That's why I'm asking y'all. He said, no, there's more to Yoda that makes him better. Windu is close. Like, it's not... He said Yoda is... I'm going to make sure I get the exact word. He said Yoda is better, but you can't... It's hard. It'll be hard to tell the difference between him and Mace. That's how close they are. And I was like, if you read the book, I said, I haven't read the books. I'm just basing it off what I saw in the movie. Because you can have all the force and the knowledge and stuff like that. When it's time to mano y mano, that's when it shows who's the best. And Mace won. If it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It was over. Shout out to Anakin for messing up everything. Well, no, shout out to the writers and they're, for messing up everything. But then you look at that amazing battle, by the way, with Yoda and Sidious. Yoda was having more struggle against Sidious. And then didn't finish the job. You know what I'm saying? There was no Anakin to stop Yoda. And Yoda, you know what I'm... So I don't know. Just a quick question. I don't want this video to be too long. What do y'all think? And could you please explain it to me? Yeah. Even if you will tell me what book to read. Because I don't mind. I'll look it up. But, yeah, I don't know. I said, I really believe that in that world, Mace Windu was the strongest Jedi. Yoda was maybe the wisest, but when it comes to mano y mano, I think Mace is better. You know what I'm saying? So he had, if you think about that battle against Palpatine, 90% of the battle, Mace had the advantage. So honestly, when it came to arresting the Chancellor or Palpatine, he didn't need those other three Jedi. They honestly got in the way, and we saw what happened to them in 5 seconds. Which that's one thing I didn't like in the movie. I wish they made that battle a little longer. It was like these are Jedi masters. They dying that fast. But anyway, yeah. I was sitting there because a lot of people, and I grew up saying Yoda was the best, but after watching it again, I was like, I don't know. I think Mace maybe was the better one. Even if Yoda and Mace faced each other, I think Mace would have won. I don't know. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. Just a question.